The partnership with EXP is only a part of today's announcement for New Street. We're even more excited to announce another collaboration and merger with the Shoreview Real Estate team out of Mississauga, Ontario. Shoreview Real Estate has been voted the #1 team in Mississauga by the Mississauga News Reader's Digest for 2 years in a row. They're also one of the largest teams at eXp Realty in Canada. Let's sit down with the team leader at Shoreview, Robert Paperny, to discuss this collaboration. We've gone through a bit of that brand process, so we started kind of really digging deep on what the values are and what our principles are, and just operating with integrity when it comes to everything you do in terms of obviously the real estate deals that you do, the clients you work with, but also the team. There's a few words also that are important, but ultimately I think all of them summarizing amount to collaboration. Things like respect, love, fun, certain level of collaboration within a team, and those things kind of speak to it. And then one of the biggest ones, which is probably really important, is hard work.
I think there's a big difference between, being a great agent and then being a team leader or on a team itself. And one of the biggest things is the collaboration, right? Because you could be a superstar athlete or anything like that, but if you're not passing the ball, it's not gonna have that team effect. Like, we just had the World Cup, right? So we see some of those teams that worked really, really well together.
That's it.
And it's not necessarily always the best player wins the World Cup, right?
Yeah. That's a perfect example. They had a superstar on the other team that killed it. It wasn't enough to win that game, and I think that is a great analogy in terms of values on a team. I think collaboration is a requirement.
I think the foundation of the team, your admin, your support staff, do you have systems? What kind of tools are you using to implement? Is there coaching? Are the team working as a cohesive unit, right?
And you need to have a process and a system that's integrated, and where people are collaborating to do that. And that's part of the reason, like we were talking about the brokerage and the team, that's really the big difference. I feel like the brokerage is disconnected from the business a lot of times. They're just offering that contractual and compliance part of the transaction. But when it comes to the actual business, which is what really excites me, and working with agents and helping them with their marketing and their branding and ultimately managing that client experience, the team is kind of the model that helps facilitate that and helps optimize that. So that's why my whole goal is like, how can we build the best team in the world? How can we build the best team in Ontario, the best platform, and just elevate the service that realtors give?
I've been saying this for a while now, that there's some great teams out there, but how do we become the best team in Ontario or the best team in Canada, and why not go after the world? Like, what's holding us back from that?
So we started exploring how can we represent this. I went down the journey of saying, okay, how do we develop a visual brand that's simple, elegant, unique, and meaningful? These are all important factors in terms of doing a brand. You want it to be sleek, you want it to be elegant so you could go after the luxury market, you want to differentiate from every team, and you want it to have a meaning in terms of doing it. It can't just be something that's not meaningful. So we went through this exercise, looked at all the brands in the industry that might be relevant and interesting, looked at some options for how can we put this together, and it was really challenging when we did this exercise. And this is kind of what we learned. With the two brands, both have strong brands, strong logo marks, so it's really challenging to put those together or combine them in any shape, way, or form. And we wanted the brand to speak the fun and still kind of give a nod to making waves, which is kind of the slogan that Shoreview's been rolling with that I really like, EXP and New Street. This is basically where we landed. And there's a lot of meaning behind this, and I can go into it. I'd love to get some feedback from everybody, and honestly, it's still in the early stages, but this is kind of something interesting. The logo mark is simple and aligns with a modern luxury feel. The majority of the logo is dedicated to the Team Shoreview brand, so it's very clear. Right now, when you see the logo, the wave takes up a portion of it, so the text is smaller, so you don't get as much real estate. When Shoreview takes up the whole brand now, no matter what collateral, you're driving by a sign, you're seeing something quickly, you see the name, and that's important in a logo. And then the gradient O mark is very unique and different, and it tells a meaningful story. The circle in Shoreview can represent the world, it can represent our circle, our team. Either way, we're making waves. So the gradient now is the visual representation of the waves, and it's a lot sleeker and simpler, and we could be making waves in our team, in our immediate circle, in our team, in our downline. We could be making it in the world through EXP, a global brokerage. And there's some other meanings. So the wave gradient inside the circle symbolizes collaboration. So, agents are good at relationships. They're good at dealing with the people building those relationships, but the team delivers on all the other factors, the marketing, and it's sort of that yin yang and that balanced contrast in a team that makes it successful. Also, if you compare it to all the other brands on the market, it stands out. It's different. The gradient gives us the ability to have that unique identifier that nobody else has, and it stands out. The W cut is the same cut in the X roughly, and it gives a nod to EXP. It also has a hidden end that kind of segues into New Street. And the two diagonal lines for Powered by New Street represent a street. It's something that we've used in the New Street brand.
EXP is a virtual brokerage. Maybe you can go into some of the things on the office side that are exciting that we're doing and looking into the future.
Yeah, so we had a test pilot where we opened up an office in Mississauga and Port Credit area, about 4,000 square feet on the second floor. So now we're almost the whole second floor of the building. And we're actually adding on another 7 offices in the new year. So we have some space if you know any teams or anybody that's interested in taking on some space. So it's working really well. It's completely different than any conventional model because we are high producing agents that want to be beside each other and working in collaboration. Once we did that, we started with our Hamilton office. We found a space in Hamilton, which is currently just getting renovated, and that'll be opening up in the new year. And then I walk into your office, Robert, which we're standing in, and I was like, wow, this kind of reminds me of the vibe at our Port Credit location. Like the building's kind of similar. It's downtown. Yeah, we're just adding on an extra element for people that want to work together and have a space. Because I think people realize like you can work from home, but at the end of the day, it's nice to get away and go somewhere and actually just close your door and focus on the business.
The Port Credit office, you're opening up the Hamilton office on Parkside, and then now we're gonna have the downtown Burlington office.
Yeah.
And there's also several other office resources that we're gonna be able to tap into. And the goal is to ultimately open more locations.
Why would 2 dominant teams collaborate and join forces?
I think it's for the better good. If you're gonna put it simply, it's for the better good of the agents, for the better good of the clients, and there's all these things that we've been doing really well, and there's all these things that you've been doing really well, and again, it's that collaboration and the bringing those skill sets together, bringing people together, and creating this environment where now we can be better. New Street Inc. is one acronym, but then also Never Stop Improving. So it was like a double acronym.
My mindset has changed so much being around the people that I've been around for the last few years. Before 1 + 1 was 2, and now 1 + 1 is 11.
Yeah.